Hello students, today we'll see lesson number 3, that is settlement. Let's begin the lesson. In primitive times, men did not have any permanent settlement. So in ancient days, human being did not have any permanent settlement. That means they didn't have any permanent house. They used to live a nomadic life and moved from one place to another in search of food. So during that time, as they didn't have any permanent settlement, they wandered from one place to another in search of food. They took shelters in caves of mountains, big trees, etc. And as a result lived in insecurity. As during that time they didn't have any permanent house or they didn't have any permanent settlement, they used to spend their lives in some caves of mountains, big trees, etc. As a result, they didn't have any secure life. Only after man took agriculture, permanent settlement came into being. So, the day when human being started agriculture, the permanent settlement came into being. Okay, so that means for the first time when human being started agriculture, from then onwards they started to settle down in particular place permanently. It means with the beginning of agriculture practices, men started to settle down permanently. Men had to settle down permanently to plow the land and sow seeds. Okay, so human being started to settle down in a permanent or in a particular place permanently because to look after and to cultivate their crops. Okay, before the beginning of agriculture, there was no any permanent settlement of human beings. They used to wander from place to place. But for the first time when they started agriculture, then onwards they settled down permanently in a place. Further, they settled permanently to store the harvest for future use, and it was necessary to settle down in a place so that they could store whatever they have cultivated for their future use. Men started settling down by the side of rivers since water was necessary for both man and agriculture. In the very beginning, human beings started settling down by the side of a river since water was necessary for both man and agriculture. In the very beginning, human beings started to settle down nearby the rivers as water is necessary for both man and agriculture. So here you can see the picture how the settlement took place nearby the river. Isn't it? Here you can see the river or the water bodies, and this is the settlement that took place nearby the river. Okay, so they have chosen this place because it was easy for them to carry water or to supply water for their agriculture crops. Now let's go to next page. Later on, men started building houses to protect themselves from the sun, wind, rain, and various wild animals. So at the very beginning, they started to settle down nearby the river. After that, what they did, they started to build houses to protect themselves from sun, wind, and rain, and even from various wild animals. Initially, men used local available material to construct houses. It means they started to collect the raw materials from the nearby jungles and forests to construct their houses. In this way, small hamlets were created. Hamlets are generally smaller than a village. Okay. With the passage of time, these hamlets grew in size with increase in the population and villages came into being. So as I have already told you, hamlets are generally smaller in size as compared to village. So when in hamlets the number of population increased, later on it converted into villages. Look at the picture given at previous page. So now once again we will go back to the earlier page. Now this is the earlier page. Okay. So now what it has said, let's go to the next page. Look at the picture given at previous page. Just now we have seen the previous page. As shown in the picture, some facilities are required in a place for the growth of settlement. We know that without any facilities, people will not prepare any place to settle down there. Men settle down in a place having productive land, availability of water, grassland, vegetation cover, etc. So especially men will prefer to settle in such places where they get or where they find productive land. That means if the land is good for cultivation, availability of water, they also needs a good amount of water, grassland and vegetation cover. Vegetation means green plants. Settlement generally refers to permanent settling down by men. So especially settlement means if in any place people are settling down or people are living there for permanently, we call it settlement. It is basically of two types. So settlements are of generally two types. You can write this question that what are the different types of settlements. So especially settlement are of two types, that is rural settlements and urban settlements. Here in figure 3.2 of the same page you can see two pictures are given. Okay, one is the picture of rural settlements while another one is the pictures of urban settlement. You can find many differences here. So in exam a question may ask that write three differences between rural settlement and urban settlements. So just you have to observe. If you find out or if you observe these pictures nicely, easily you can find the answer. Okay, let's see the next paragraph. Two types of settlements are shown in the adjacent picture. So here two pictures are given and these are of two different types of settlement. Look at them carefully. So look at them carefully. You have to look carefully these two pictures. What differences do you find in these two pictures? What differences you can find here? We can find here many differences like the types of houses present in the both the pictures. Apart from that, modes of transportation, is not it? The environment, many other things you can notice here which are differences among these two. Which one of them resembles your own locality? So it has asked that from which locality you belongs. Rural and urban settlements are shown in these two pictures. So here two pictures are given as I have already told, and these two represents the life of rural and the life of urban. Think and say which type of settlement your locality belongs to tell that from which locality you belongs. It needs to be remembered that rural settlements transform into urban settlements with the passage of time. And you should know one thing, that if a village, suppose this picture one is a picture of village, do you think that these pictures or this village will always remain as village? No, it's not like that. With the passage of time, this village may get transformed into towns. Okay, now if we go and see the next little bit, it is written about activity. So here you have to write, state the reasons why man settles down permanently for agriculture, and why does man select places by the sides of rivers for permanent settlement. So hope you know, just now we have discussed, you should do this too. Let's see the village life at first, after that you will see the urban also. Commonly it is seen that villages develops in areas close to rivers. Okay, commonly it is seen that villages develops in areas close to rivers. Just now we have seen that villages are generally developed nearby the rivers, lakes, ponds, springs, etc. because they need what? Water for agriculture as well as for their living. Availability of water is the primary condition for the development of rural settlements because water is needed for drinking, cooking, washing, agricultural activities, etc. So the first important thing for the development of a rural settlement is what? The presence of water, because water is very much essential. It is needed for drinking purpose, then cooking, washing, agricultural activities, and many more works are there. In addition, people making a living by catching fish in the wetlands. So there are peoples who depends on fishing. It's not a fishermen. Their main occupation is what? Catching fish. So it is written here. In addition, people make a living by catching fish in the wetlands. People also use the rivers as mode of transport. Yes, a river is also used as the mode of transport. Land is as important as water for a rural settlements. Not only water, but land is also very important for a rural settlement. Because if you have enough water, but if the land is not present, then we cannot cultivate. So along with water, land also plays an important role for a rural settlements. Generally, man establishes a village in the fertile lands by the side of a river. So generally human being in a rural area, they establish their houses or they establish a village in the fertile lands which is nearby a river. Agriculture is the main stage of rural settlement. So the main occupation of the people living in village area is agriculture. Apart from water and land, uplands are required for settlement so that floods and dampness can be avoided. Okay, so especially we have seen that fertile land is necessary, water is necessary for cultivation. But apart from that, the people of village also needs uplands. Uplands means little bit hilly area so that people can construct their houses to avoid floods and dampness. Locally available construction materials, so there are many materials in the village area which can be used to construct the houses. So what are the things that we can get, like bamboo, wood, thatch, sands, stones, etc. are factors responsible for making settlement easier. So for the construction of our houses we need many things, and in village area we can get that very easily. Climatic factors like sunshine, wind, rain, etc. are also considered. Similarly, man also examines the probability of occurrence of any disease in a place before settling down it. So, what we have noticed that before settling down in a place, man examines many things. Directly, they will not purchase a plot of land and they will settle there. They will make a survey. They will, if they are farmer, they will check even the soil quality, whether it is good for their cultivation or not. Apart from that, they will also look about the probability means any chances in future to occur any kind of diseases before they settle down in that place. Here it is written types of rural settlements. Human settlement is not similar at all places of the earth. We know that settlement is not equal in all the places. Human distribution is not same in all the places. Some places are densely populated, thickly populated, while some other are very thinly populated. Places having fertile soil, so the place which is good, the place which has good soil quality, adequate water supply, that means good water supply, locally available building materials, so the local materials available for construction of houses, a good transport network, good transport facilities are generally that area is good in producing or providing available building materials, and if it has also a good transport network system, then that place generally have high density of population. That means number of people living in per square kilometer area is high. So what is density of population? If it comes, you can write density of population means the number of people living in per square kilometer area. Mountainous terrains or hilly areas are especially populated. So the area which is hilly or which is covered by some mountains, such place we can see especially populated, means where the population are generally low. In certain areas, people live in cluster due to availability of various facilities. So in certain areas, in some places, people lives together. In a small area, many people lives together. We call it cluster. Okay, due to various facilities. So if a place which has lots of facilities, then although the area of that place may be less, but the number of people in such area want to reside, or those who are residing there are generally high, which will result to what? This will result to high density of population. So once again you see, in certain areas people live in cluster due to availability of various facilities. So in some places people lives together in a cluster because of the presence of various facilities. Such type of settlement is called a nucleated settlement. So such type of settlement is called a nucleated settlement. So what do you mean by nucleated settlement? Nucleated settlement are those kind of settlements where people lives in cluster due to availability of various facilities. Okay, now we'll see some of the pictures, then you will understand that one. But before that we'll see one line and then we'll see the different pictures which makes you clear. So generally due to various advantages in the hilly areas and also unfavorable climate conditions, infertile soils, problems of transport in the plain areas, the settlement may be of dispersed settlements. So generally what it is written, generally in due to various disadvantages in the hilly area, as you know that in hilly area number of facilities are very less. As a result, the number of people living in hilly areas especially are also less because they do not get sufficient types of facilities. They even do not get fertile soil. They may face the problem of transport. So many problems are there, due to which we can find dispersed settlement. Now what is nucleated and dispersed settlement we will understand with the help of figures. Now first one, you see this one, whatever lines you can see here, these lines indicates or represents roads, and these black dots whatever you can see represents settlements. Now you see in this area some settlements you can notice in a cluster, isn't it? But from here to here in this gap you can't see any settlement. But again when you will go here you will see some settlement. These black dots are what? These black dots are settlements, means houses. Here also these black dots means what? Houses. Here also this black dot means what? Houses. And these lines, you see these lines represents what? Roads. So what we have noticed that in some places people have settled down in a cluster, isn't it? In group. Here also in group. Why they have settled down here in groups? Because many facilities they have received here, they have got here, so they decided to settle here. So this is what? Nucleated settlement. Whenever people live in a cluster due to the presence or due to the availability of any or various facilities, we call it what? Nucleated settlement. On the other hand, if you see 3.4, that is dispersed settlements here, these lines also represents roads, and these black dots, hope you can see, black, some pinks are also given. Okay, so these dots represents what? Settlement. So this is an example of sparse or dispersed settlement. Okay, so it is just opposite to this. Sparse settlement is just opposite to nucleated settlement. In nucleated, people lives in group because of presence of facilities, but in sparse, so sparse settlement means what? In sparse settlements we do not find any settlement in a cluster. Some people will reside here, some people will settle here, another house will be here, another will be little bit far here. Okay, so you can see, so scattered, these settlements are so scattered, all are not in a same place. So these are the differences between nucleated and sparse settlements. If we go little bit down, this 3.5 is linear settlement. So linear settlement generally means what? Hope you can see the black dots. The lines here, two lines are especially given here. One is railway track, another is main road. Apart from that, drain are also given. So any kind of settlements, if you notice houses which are on the sides of road, okay, on the sides of road or on the sides of railway track, okay, so we call it what? Linear settlements. Okay, especially what you have to notice, if you have visited a place where you have noticed all the settlements, all the houses were constructed on the sides of the roads, so we can say it as a linear settlement. Just you can see here nicely, this is a line and these dots are what? Settlement. So we call it what? Linear settlements. This one is star pattern settlement. We also call it star like settlement because it looks like a diffusion of ray from the stars. So just imagine this is a meeting point of all the roads. Okay, from 1.56 roads have been diffused. So from here you just imagine this road. Here these green dots and pink dots represents what? This represents settlements. So from this figure what we understand, that if from a point many roads have been origin and on both the sides of the roads is present, there we can say it as a star pattern settlement. Okay, now let's go to the last one, square pattern settlement. It is also known as rectangular settlement. Here this is square pattern settlement. We also call it rectangular settlement, and it's very easy one. We can say that this line and this line, it represents what? It represents roads, and these dots whatever you can see here, these are settlement. So okay, four corners, isn't it? There will be four corners. When two roads will bisect each other, there will be four corners, and in that four corners if we can find or if we see settlements especially, then we call it rectangular settlement. Okay, clear? This is very easy one. You have to understand the meaning. Yes, from somewhere it will come, and it's not compulsory to write as it is from the book. If you can compose yourself, that will be better. Okay, now let's go and see the remaining part of the lesson. If you notice that pattern of settlement, you will see that in some settlements the houses are located along a road. Okay, here we have seen in some figures we have noticed that settlement of the houses are located along the road. Such settlement is called linear settlements, because nearby the this one you can see that this is a line, and on the both side we can see settlement. It is known as linear settlement. Where several roads converge, a star-shaped settlement develops. Such settlement is in due course of time transformed into urban settlements. So where several roads converge, a star-shaped, such settlements in due course of time transform into urban settlement, and this kind of area with the passage of time, or we can say very fast as compared to other area, it transform into a town. Similarly, a square pattern of settlement develops around the agricultural fields in villages, and this kind of settlement generally we can see in the agricultural fields in the villages. So now let's turn the page and we will see 25 page number. So now let's see urban settlements. Urban settlement is also known as municipal settlements. The another name of urban settlement is municipal settlement. It means a town, and urban generally means a town. Education enhances, education develops human intelligence and capability. So with the help of education we can develop our intelligence and capability. Such empowered people and such enhanced people, such developed people, they starts industry, and they also starts trade, means business, by utilizing various resources, by using various resources apart from practicing agriculture. So the educated people of towns, they start industry, and even they starts business by utilizing the different resources apart from practicing agriculture. As a result, some people previously engaged in cultivation, animal husbandry, fishing, etc. get into industry, trade and commerce. Okay, so when some industry gets set up in towns, then ultimately what happened, those people who were working or those people who were practicing agriculture, they will leave the agriculture process and they generally prefer to join or they get into industry, trade and commerce. So in this way, the agrarian settlement means the area which was based on agriculture. Later on, it may transform into industry. Based on industry, trade and commerce, transports, etc., markets develop in such places, and finally towns are created. So later on, when we have seen that at the very beginning people were engaged in agriculture, but with the passage of time, when people educated themselves, they started to settle in a place where they could establish industries and they start trade and commerce. When industries and trade and commerce will start, ultimately it will leads to development in the transport sector, and also it establishes markets, and finally that place may transform into towns. This implies that trade and commerce, industry and craft jobs in educational institutions, offices, etc. became the primary occupation of people living in the towns. And when that place from village it get converted into town, then ultimately the occupation of the people living in the town also get changes. Like people will start engaging themselves in trade and commerce, or some other will get engaged in industry, then craft, then jobs in different educational institution, offices. Okay, so now next it is written, in this way the town dwellers belongs to the secondary, tertiary and quaternary activities. So now what happened, we like this, when a village get converted into town, the occupation of the people living in that area also get changed. So their occupation may be secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Secondary, we'll see here what are the meaning of primary, secondary and tertiary, quaternary activities. Now let's go and see the characteristic of rural settlements. Now let's see characteristics of rural and urban settlements. Every human settlement has some unique characteristics, and every human settlement, whether it may be rural or urban settlements, it has some unique characteristics. Important among them includes occupational structure. So first of all, what unique characteristic we can notice, the occupation of the people. Now a people who lives in a village area and the people who lives in a town area, we do not find same kind of occupation. Occupational structure, shape and patterns of house. This should be patterns, okay? Patterns, patterns of houses. The design of houses will also be different. Land use, yes, the people in the village area, they will use land for especially cultivation purpose, but while if you go and see in the town area, they will use their land for trade and commerce, for setting industry and many other things. Roads, institution, industry, communication, trade, etc. So these are the things that we can see different in rural and urban settlements. These characteristics change with time and place, and these characteristic of rural and urban settlement changes with the passage of time and place. This characteristic does not remain same always. A big difference can be noticed in terms of these characteristics between a village and a town, and these differences we can notice in a village and town, especially land use. You can see in village people use their land for agricultural purpose, while in town they use for different purposes other than agriculture. Again, considerable variation exists between a big town and a smaller one. And if there are two types of town, if a town is big and if it is a smaller one, there also we can find some of the differences. Such variations can be easily seen by observing one's own village or town. So the differences between a town and a village, the differences between a big town and a small town can be noticed by observing your or our own area. A few differences are mentioned below. So let's see the next. Okay, these are the differences between characteristics of rural settlements and characteristics of urban settlements. Now see the differences. This is very important. You have to remember this one. Okay, let's start the characteristic. These are very important. Number one, you see characteristic of rural settlement is main occupations of the inhabitants is agriculture. The people living in rural settlements, they depends on agriculture, while the main occupations of inhabitants are trade and commerce, that is business, industry and services. So what we have seen, people of rural settlements depend on agriculture, while people living in urban settlement, they depends in trade and commerce, industry and services. Here in rural settlements, settlements is thin and dispersed or dispersed settlements we have seen, no. So that one you see, in village area population are very thin or thinly populated, you can say, while in urban area settlement is very dense and clustered. Houses are of traditional type. The houses of rural settlements are traditional type, that means the ancient type. But if you go and see the settlements of urban area, then what kind of houses we can see? Houses are built of modern design, most of which are tall buildings. Okay, number 4, in rural transport system is not good, while in urban areas better transport network. Here number 5, fewer number of vehicles. In rural area number of vehicles are very less, while in urban area large number of vehicles and well connected with other places. Number 6, lesser number of institutions. Different kind of school, colleges are very less in village, while in urban area institutions are many. And number 7 is less scope for trade and commerce. For business, rural settlement is not good, as the scope of trade and commerce is very less, but in urban areas better scope for trade and commerce. Discuss reasons why towns have more population as compared to village. Hope you can write the answer that why the towns have more population as compared to villages. There are many things, hope you will write that one. At present, the number of people residing in towns and cities is increasing in almost all the countries of the world. So at present, the number of people living in cities and town is increasing. You will understand easily by looking at the table given below. About 70% of the population in developed countries like USA, Canada, etc. are urban population. Now you can see here that 70% of the population who lives in developed country like USA and Canada, they lives in urban area. In India, only around 30% population resides in town and remaining 70% reside in villages. Okay. Relation between rural and urban settlements. So how rural and urban are related to each other, we will see here. Although many differences exist between rural and urban settlements, there is a strong linkage too. As you have seen here on the table, that there are many differences between rural and urban settlements, but there is a strong link too. It has been already mentioned that the towns have born out of villages, but the same is not there in all the cases. That means all the towns have not grown out of the villages. There are certain towns that have been newly created in a planned manner, and some of the towns have been formed directly as towns. Normally, trade and commerce connect villages with the towns. Okay, normally trade and commerce, that means business connects a village and a town. Moreover, service sectors too confirms this connectivity. As first line we have seen that business connects the people of village and the people of towns. Apart from the different kind of services also connects the people of village and the people of towns. The villagers supply their agricultural products to the town and the town provide the village with the manufactured commodities and other services. So yes, different kind of vegetables, different kinds of crops, whatever are grown in the village, we supply that to the towns. And on the other hand, the towns, whatever goods have been manufactured in the industry, they sell or they send toward village area. Services like as banking, postal service, insurance, education and insurance, education also connect the villages with towns. So these services also connects the people of village with the people of town, because in village we do not have bank, we have to go to a town. Similarly, postal service, good educational institution are also not available in the village area, or to pursue your higher education you have to go to our towns. Apart from trade and commerce, services like this also connects a village and a town. People from villages move to towns regularly for various works and return by purchasing necessary items available in the towns. And the people of the village area, they do not get all the goods in their area, so they go toward the town, they purchase it and they return back to their local area. Nowadays, a new trend has developed within this rural-urban linkage with the advent of cellular phone, internet and various other media of publicity. So at present, with the developed or with the invention of cellular phone, internet and various other media of publicity, the rural and urban linkage have been developed. So now let's go to the next page. Settlements in uplands and lowlands. Due to steep slope and undulating topography in the uplands, settlements pattern is sparse or dispersed. So as you know that in the mountainous regions, in the hilly regions, the area is not plain, area is not uniform, the landform is not uniform. Okay, so as a result, what we can notice there, sparse settlements or dispersed settlement, that means populations are very thin. The physiography of Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir being undulated with hills and mountains and valleys, the settlement is very sparse. So the landform of these areas are not uniform because of hills and mountains. The settlement is very less in this area. Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao in Assam, being hilly areas, are sparsely populated. So Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao, as these also are in hilly area, here also we can see thinly populated. On the other hand, the settlement is dense in lowlands. So such area which is plain, okay, lowlands means plains. So such area which is plain area, due to better mode of transport, agriculture, trade facilities, etc., various other advantages, here population density is generally high. Okay, so now what we have understand, that the area which is in hilly area or in mountainous area where the land surface is not plain, if it is not uniform, then the result of population will be very thin. While on the other hand, the area which is plain, where it has a better mode of transport, agriculture, trade facility, etc., there we can notice densely populated. Assam is unique state in terms of physical features. So Assam is very unique, okay, which is not similar to other. Unique generally means uncommon, we can say. Assam is a uncommon state in terms of physical features. It is composed of hills and mountains, plateaus, plains, river, valley, charts and various other features. So the land of Assam is very unique because here you can see different kind of landforms like hills and mountains, plateaus, plain, river, valleys, etc. Settlements are seen more or less at all of these places, and settlements you can find in all the places, whether it may be plain area, it may be whether it may be hills or plateaus. There are at present 25,590 villages in Assam. Okay, most of them are situated in the plains of Brahmaputra and Barak Valley respectively. So at present in Assam we have 25,590 villages, and maximum of these villages are in the plain area of Brahmaputra and Barak Valley. Again, there are a number of villages in the hills district of Assam, that is Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao. So there are a number of villages in the district of Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao also. Irrespective of being situated in a plain, plateaus or hilly area, the salient features of each village is determined by its natural environment. So the characteristic of each village is not same. Okay, Agriculture is the mainstay for the people residing in the peoples of Brahmaputra and Barak valleys of Assam, and the main source of income of the people that are living in the village area of Brahmaputra and Barak valley is what? Agriculture. Although rice is the major crop, jute, mustard seed, sugarcane, sesame, pulses, etc., and a variety of vegetables are grown here. Very often it is seen that the crops are destroyed in the low-lying areas by the flood waters of Brahmaputra and Barak Valley. And oftenly every year we can see that the crops are destroyed in the plain area or in the low-lying area by the flood of river Brahmaputra and Barak. That is why in Assam people take to cultivating Boro and Eri variety of rice crop during winter season in the lowlands. So in the lowlands area, as people are affected by flood every year, so nowadays people have started cultivating Boro and Eri variety of rice because these are grown especially in winter season, and we know that in winter season the level of water especially decrease in the river and there is no chance to get effect due to flood. On the other hand, cultivation is a little different in the uplands. People living in uplands keep changing the plots of land for cultivation, and especially in the hilly regions, people do not cultivate in the same plot of land. At first, they clear the forest, they burn the forest, and they cultivate for 1, 2, 3 years, and after that, they will shift to another place. Again, in the new place, they will practice the same process. They will clean the forest, they will put fire on the forest, they burn the forest, and after that they will cultivate for 2-3 years. After that again they shift to another place. We call it jhum cultivation. But the same jhum cultivation outside northeast, it is known as shifting cultivation because they change the place for cultivation. People living in the uplands keep changing the plots of land for cultivation. Rice, corn, sesame, potato, vegetables, oranges, etc. are cultivated in such places. So these things are cultivated in the jhum cultivation. During dry season, there is scarcity of water in these places and agricultural productivity becomes very less. So in hilly regions, especially during summer season, they do not get available of water. So here production get decreases. Difference exists in the construction of houses in the uplands and the lowlands. And if we see the houses of plain area and the houses of hilly regions, we can find many differences on the pattern of construction of houses. People in the uplands build houses on raised stilt along the slopes. The houses are made of wood, bamboo, thatch. Okay, so generally we can see in the slope area, by giving some pillars like changar, they construct their houses in the hilly area. The houses are made of wood, bamboo, thatch, etc. Majority of the hills people domesticates pigs, poultry, etc. Generally, the people of hilly area, they domesticate pigs, poultry, etc. People living in the flood plains, on the other hand, build houses on stilt to protect themselves. And the people living in the flood plains area, they construct their houses made up of bricks, so to protect themselves, their domestic animal, food, and other necessities from flood havoc.